Hello. Hi, Asif.
Hi everyone. Hi
How
Sean,
you
how are you?
doing? Yeah, good, good. Long time no see.
Very long time no see. Very long
Yeah.
time no see.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I don't know, it's afternoon here in the UK. Might be evening or morning to wherever you are in the world. That's great. Thanks very much for joining me and Asif. I suppose firstly, before introducing yourself, it'd be great to find out who's on this call today and whereabouts you're all calling from, and also a bit of background on you, what your occupation is. You know, we've got a lot of installers, homeowners, landlords, consultants. Put it in the chat and let's get the conversation going. The more we can hear from you, the better. It's all about you guys today and trying to help you all out. I'll quickly introduce myself. My name's Sean Garrahy. I'm a key account manager based in the UK. I cover like the eastern region. My job is mainly out in the field, selling to local authorities, housing associations. Bit background again on myself. I left school at 16. Had a got a plumbing apprenticeship, served my time, and worked on the tools to my late 20s. Then decided I preferred people more than get my hands dirty. Got into sales in my late 20s and worked for a few various sort of manufacturers, getting a bit of sales experience, and then joined Danfoss 6 years ago, and been here ever since. To be honest, fantastic job, really good company to work for, and always striving to do things better and bigger. That's a bit about me. So Asif, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Asif Dad. I am the technical desk engineer for Danfoss Heating in the UK. I cover England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland when it comes to any technical questions from anyone really, whether it's an end user, engineer, merchant, anything like that. I'll be on the other end of the phone if you're calling the UK for any heating technical questions. Um, Yizhok, I apologize
I'm
if I
glad
said the
you said
name
that
wrong.
because I was looking at thinking, oh, how do you pronounce that?
Hi
Thanks for
Yizhok,
joining.
doing?
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Yizhok is in
Hey,
HVAC Tech, that's right.
brilliant.
So prior to Danfoss, I was a gas safe registered heating engineer. For all of you outside of the UK, gas safe is a registration body, a regulatory body that regulates any work to do with gas, which is predominantly the heating energy we use in the UK.
Okay,
Um,
so sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
So you got the background knowledge in gas. Let's
absolutely.
see if anyone's out there who's got some background in gas, and let's challenge you. Let's see what you're all about today. Let's have a
let's
bit of fun. Get these
yeah,
questions in, guys.
let's see if my bite is as good as my bark.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we would love to hear if there's anyone else out there, where you're from, what your background is. I'd love to see any more gas engineers out there, so I know I'm not alone.
Well,
Uh,
listen, as if you're there day in day out, so you hear all the customers ringing,
Absolutely.
so listen, guys, what's the most frustrating things that go on this time of year? That the weather's turned a little bit, the your heating's probably playing up. This is the time of year we're getting near Christmas, so really this is the time where you don't want your heating to go wrong. Control wise, what about heating balancing heating systems or noisy radiators or radiators? Do you find radiators too hot in one room and not too hot in another? Let's get these questions in and
Yeah.
let's get into the nitty
As
gritty.
as Sean said, any burning questions you have, if you're new in the game, if you've been in the game for a long time and there's something that's really grinding your gears about
Mm.
the plumbing side of it or about the heating side of it, please message in and we'll do our best to answer them as best as possible. So yeah, while we're waiting for the questions, so as a gas engineer, I worked on the tools, I fixed boilers, fitted radiators, everything for about 12 years of my life.
Yeah.
Since joining Danfoss 4 years ago, I like to think I've moved up in the celebrity ladder.
All right.
Yeah, so I am the star of Danfoss on YouTube. So if you were to search YouTube and search Danfoss Get Smart with Dad, you'll see this beautiful face
And it is a beautiful
going
face.
through going through certain aspects of heating day to day.
Whilst
Um,
whilst we're waiting there, Asif, we're waiting
yes.
for a few questions. Like I say, guys, get these questions in. Balancing, replacement products. Um, let's get some in. So, oh, right, okay. We got a great question coming from John, and this is perfect. What is the best way to balance a heating system? So that's a great question, John. And do you want to start with this, Asif, and then
Yeah,
maybe?
I'll start off with another question.
Okay.
So those of you that fit heating systems, those of you that balance heating systems,
Yes.
how long does it take you to balance a typical heating system? So if you could write down what a
Right.
typical house is, whether it's a three-bed house or whether it's if you're calling from a different country, you know, anywhere else in the world, if it's a villa, wherever it is, what is a typical house and what is a typical time it takes for you to balance your heating system?
Right. I'm going to put an answer down here because I know I think what the average is. So that's a great question. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Let's
Yeah,
get these questions in.
I know
Come
how
on.
long it took me. It
Yeah.
took me it took me a long time. But I'm going to wait for you guys to answer before I give you my answer.
There's
But
there's no need to
yeah,
hide, is there? Come on, Asif. Let's
not
try and
at
get
all.
these guys out. Come on, you can.
Absolutely.
Let's get in the chat function and get some
Mhm.
answers in.
So before I tell you what I believe is the best, because everyone has their own options, but I could tell you that I believe Danfoss has the best way currently. But before I used to balance heating systems when I was on the tools, and it was so mundane. Literally, it was as simple as
Was it via that little thing?
it was via that little thing, the lock shield.
The lock
Those of
shield,
you,
yes.
those of you know what that is, know how much of a pain it is. So imagine fitting TRVs and lock shields on every single radiator, closing down every single lock shield, going over to the very, very last lock shield, opening it up, letting the heat come through, then moving on to the
Yes.
next one, opening it up, moving on to the next one, opening it up, and then having to go back to the first one because it's too hot or it's too cold, and then juggling between every single
Yeah.
radiator.
And what
You can
about when,
imagine.
oh, great, another great question came in. So when you do balance it and then you take a radiator off the wall, the problem
Mhm.
is what?
Yeah, you have to rebalance it, don't you?
Exactly. Thank you.
So
That was a great question from Steve who's just
it's
come in.
time consuming.
Yeah.
So now I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you how I believe Danfoss have the answer. But before I do
Okay.
that, those of you that are new in the game, those of you that are starting off, you don't know what balancing a system means.
Yeah.
It's the art, you could say, of making sure that every single heating emitter, such as a radiator, in a property such as a three-bedroom house, is uniform. When we say uniform, we mean uniform in terms of the amount of flow that's going through it, to ensure that there's no excess noise because of too much flow, because of too much pressure going through a certain radiator, and to make sure that one radiator is not hotter or colder than the others. So a common scenario is if a system is not balanced, the radiator closest to the heating unit, such as a boiler or the pump, will be the hottest, and the
Okay.
radiator furthest away will be the coldest. So you can imagine hottest, coldest. So what we want to do is we want to balance the system so everything becomes uniform. Make
Right.
sense?
So yeah, a lot of smiley faces, a lot of thumbs up coming out in as well. So yeah, good. So interesting. Just looking at some more questions. So yeah, fire away, Asif.
Yeah.
Let's. A few people are
So
putting question marks, asking how do you do this?
so Danfoss's way of doing it is we've created a pressure independent TRV. A pressure independent TRV, what we know is the RAS B2 or the RA-DV TRV. So for those of you that don't know what TRV is, it's a thermostatic radiator valve. It's what's fitted on one end of the radiator.
Okay, Asif, sorry
Mhm.
to interrupt. As the questions are coming in, I'm going to just sort of get the questions, nip them in the bud so we don't forget them. So this is
Absolutely.
brilliant. Great question coming in again from Casper. So Casper said, are these valves suitable for heat pumps, hydraulic boiler systems? So, do our valves suit every heating system? Are they a universal valve?
Our our TRV valves have a maximum working pressure of 10 bar,
Okay.
and they have a maximum working temperature of well over 70, 80 degrees. So the answer to your question, Casper, is all of our TRVs should be suitable. They do work with heat pumps because heat
Okay.
pumps more or less work on a lower temperature but constant flow. And they also work with higher pressures as well. So you've got no issues there.
And also there's asked about our sensor heads. They're there's what sensor heads do we supply at Danfoss, and what is the best one regarding reaction times? So do you want me to take over from there for that quick question? Are you happy to do that one?
Yeah, you
Asif?
go ahead
Yeah,
with it,
okay.
Sean.
Okay, just give you a breather, mate. So basically we do two sensors. So there's three sensor heads in the market. You've got a wax sensor, you've got a liquid sensor, and you've got a gas sensor. So we don't do a wax sensor at Danfoss. The reaction times to that are roughly around 40 minutes between, heating up and then reacting to whatever the room temperature dictates. Our standard sort of sensor would be a liquid sensor. So the reaction times would be, and they're in a domestic dwelling, they're about 20 minutes for the reaction time. And then our gas sensor is more of a commercial, so hospitals, schools, and I believe it's about 10 minutes. Is that reaction time, Asif?
Roughly,
I
yeah.
can't, but yeah, so that is our quickest. Again, you can use that in a domestic dwelling. They're probably a bit more industrial looking, probably not as a cosmetic looking. And yeah, so that's it. And then obviously, another question's come in. Electric electric thermostat heads, do we do them? Yes, we do. We do electric. We do the eco heads, which is not a Bluetooth enabled, but it's more of a Wi-Fi enabled. It's more of a Bluetooth. So again, that works as a program room stat really in each individual room. Would you agree, sort of there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
So Mesh Tiwari, I apologize if I haven't pronounced that correctly, has asked, do MCHX play any role in heat balancing? My understanding of MCHX, is it to do with plate heat exchangers? Can you please elaborate on what MCHX
yeah.
means,
Yeah.
please? It's something I'm not unaware of. While we're waiting for the response to that, we're going back to the balancing.
Yes.
So, Sean, do you have the RADV or the RASB2 valve
Yes,
in
I
front of
do.
you so we can
Yes.
show what it looks like? So
Okay,
this is
definitely.
our TRV. So the one with the green bit on the top, this is our pressure independent TRV.
Yeah.
So the way it works is,
Actually, Asif, should we go through the app to begin with? Show them how we have the background knowledge on how you actually balance it, and then we can physically show them on the
we'll go,
valve.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll go through the theory of how it works, then we'll
sure.
definitely go through the app. So
Yeah,
what that does is, imagine a TRV, a thermostatic radiator valve. It's a thermostatic radiator valve that controls the heating by temperature. But what we've added into that is a pressure independent aspect of it. So it's a differential pressure control valve as well. What that means to you guys in layman's terms is that TRV, once balanced correctly, will allow the correct amount of flow to flow through the radiator or heat emitter at any given point, regardless of pressure change. So if you were to close one radiator down and there was an increased amount of pressure on another radiator, that valve that's in Sean's hands right now will ensure that you get the correct amount of flow going through
yeah.
it at all times, regardless of pressure change.
So as if Sam has asked a question, can you clarify the application before we talk
Mhm.
about? So basically, yes. So basically, we're talking about what applications this would suit. So the balancing valve would suit any kind of gas boiler, air source, ground source, HIUs. It more or less will any kind of system really that's got radiators in it. A balancing valve will work perfectly fine in it. Commercial
Yeah,
buildings, it's basically a two-in-one, isn't it? It's like a presetting
absolutely.
valve and an ABQM or PICV
Mhm.
put into one.
Absolutely.
So just to clarify, Sam, great question. This valve, where there's radiators on the system, the valve will work on it.
So as
So
long as you've got any sort of heat emitter in any
yeah,
sort of property, that could be a domestic property with radiators, it could be a commercial property
yeah,
with panel rads, anything like that. It will work with any system, because any system that has any sort of heat emitter for heating in a certain zone requires some sort of balancing. And if they
yeah.
use thermostatic radiator valves such as TRVs, it will be needed in that sense. So the answer to your question, Sam, so you're from the central forced air background. If your area involves heating using water, so using hot water. So these TRVs are specifically used for hydronic central heating or hydronic heating. So anything involved with pipe work with water flowing through it to a heating emitter.
Yeah.
Hope that answers your question. So
So
now,
yeah,
do you want to
should
go
we do?
through to the app?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. So if can you pull? So basically, the installer app that we've got, you can go to Play Store. I'm not the most technical guy. I'm in sense of phone, so it's Play Store, App Store, or you can just go onto a QR code here that should bring you through to our installer app.
Yeah,
So I'll
so we
give you,
give them a few seconds, a few
yeah.
minutes to
Well, while we're waiting,
bring up
guys,
the.
get these questions in. There's some fantastic questions here. Like I said, we'd like to try and help you as much as we can with whatever you kind of would like to know. So yeah, so we'll give you another opportunity maybe further down the line to get onto that QR code. So if you would just want to go to the first slide, and I'll just to
Absolutely.
whilst we're waiting, these valves that when you balance a heating system, you can't just balance one radiator on its own and leave all the rest with conventional valves. If
Absolutely.
you're gonna balance a heating system with the Raspberry, you have to do all the radiators, because otherwise it's one radiator is correctly balanced and the rest are kind of manually balanced. So just remember that, or if you're starting a new system, and they've always got to go on the flow pipe, because obviously that's the hottest part of the radiator. Just a couple of things there. But yeah, if you fire away there, Asif, with a couple of clips, and we'll
Yeah.
walk through this.
So hopefully you'd have downloaded your apps by
Yeah,
now. Once you've gone into it, before I go on to the next slide, you just make sure you're in the right settings. So this is what the app can look like. I know it's on my iPad. I'm showing it against the screen, but hopefully you lot can see what it looks like. So this is the first page. That's what it would look like. And what we're going
yep,
to do is we're going to choose the option that says radiator presetting. So if you click onto that, that's where we're going to start up from. So we'll give you a few more seconds to get to that page. Once you're on that page, then we'll go through the slides so you could follow it along with us.
lovely. No more questions at the moment. Everyone's shy. Come on, talk to us. Talk to us. We've got till 5 o'clock. We've clocked off. Then I'm clocking off for Christmas. Then I'm done. 5 o'clock. So keep me busy. By
Right,
the way, while we're waiting, does everyone like my decorations?
it
And
looks
I'm not in
lovely.
a bar. That's one of the most common questions. Are you in a bar? No, I'm not, unfortunately not. This is my lockdown project that started off as a home office and then become a kind of man cave. Yeah,
Right, Sean.
fire ahead now.
Okay, so Manish Tiwari did reply back. Heat pump
Okay.
systems. How much best possible timing for defrosting?
Oh,
For heat pump systems, it's a bit of a difficult one. Hmm, how much best possible timing for defrosting? So, sorry, Manish, I do apologize if I'm asking a question on your question, but can you please elaborate on that? So, is it the defrosting of the heating system, or is it defrosting of the pipework? What is it regarding, like, specifically? I do
yeah.
apologize if I don't understand the question. I really do apologize. Um, but yeah, maybe it's a cooling technician. Heat pump systems, how much best possible timing for defrosting?
Yeah, I don't know is the honest answer. Oh, well, I wouldn't. We'd have to maybe. Yeah, I'd love to. That's
I do apologize, Manish. If you could elaborate on that a bit more. Our heating systems um, do work with heating pumps. So if you were to plumb in radiators and stuff like that, what we're going to talk about, the installer app and so on, will work alongside heat pumps, ground source heat
yes.
pumps and air source heat pumps alike. It's the defrosting aspect of it I'd like to know more about, Manish, in terms of what you'd like to know about that, please.
Okay.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Manish to reply back, we'll go ahead with the app. So hopefully you'd have
Sure.
downloaded the app by now on your phones and your tablets. And we're going to go through a simple little exercise.
Let's go. So this is what I probably do day in, day out, talking to the guys in the field, obviously. So what we have here, we've based the flow and return temperatures on 60-40, but that can be any desired you can have 70, 50. A lot of it here in the UK, we're still using gas boilers, so we do 70, 50. But them parameters are entirely down to what application you're working on. For this presentation, we're using the RADV, but or the RASB would be the other one that you could use on your installer app, and we're using the RA2000 sensor. So again, you can use the RAS-C sensor for this. So you can play whatever application, whatever kind of valve you buy. We've got drop downs to cater for it. So the radiator height is going to be 500 mil high. It's a type 22, which is a double, and the length is 800. So that's your kind of parameters. That's your wish list for finding the right set and presetting for that particular radiator. So if you'd like to move on, so basically how you start is you go to radiator on the installer app. So first and foremost, you go to the radiator presetting. As you can see there, actually this is a great way to point out to everybody what you're trying to show on the app there, Asif, is all the different tools we've got within the installer app. For us on here at the moment, it's the obviously the radiator presetting, but you might be from other segments, so you've got all different other kind of drop downs and information that you can use. So today we're using the radiator presetting. So we press that. Thank you, Asif. So again, our desired flow temperature is 60 degrees. Our return temperature is 40 degrees, and the KPA is 15. So you can put that into 10 as well, depending on.
If I could just add in there, Sean,
Yeah.
this is just for this little practice that we're doing, just to show you how it works. UK and other countries may be different. In the UK, our flow temperatures from a heating emitter such as a boiler is roughly about 70-75 degrees Celsius, and our return temperature that we try to achieve is anything below 55 degrees Celsius. So we always try to ensure that we have a 20 degrees Celsius difference between the flow and the return, and we try to ensure the return temperature is below 55, so our boiler could go into condensing mode, which means it's more efficient. In terms of the KPA, our radiator valves will work anything from 10 kPa up to 60 kPa, which is a differential pressure. For domestic aspects, such as what we're doing right now as this little case study, 15 kPa is about a run-of-the-mill for any sort of 3-bedroom house with about 11-12 radiators. Just thought I'll add in.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, so we have been working a lot of boiler manufacturers on this, and they love this app for the efficient, as you said there, the efficiency of their boilers. You know. Okay, so so again, we're fitting a RADV, which is the body. This is the RASB, but that's more of a commercial one, but it's the same thing. We do have a drop down that has the RASB on it if you're doing domestic dwelling. So it's a 15 mil, and the sensor is the RA2000, which is one of our gas sensors. So that's your desired valve that you're going to be fitting to that radiator. Okay. So next slide, please, Asif. And it's a panel radiator, which is a standard sort of radiator here in the UK. Okay, which is your type 22 we spoke about. And next slide, please, Asif. And then this is our radiator height, which is a 500 high. Again, the type 22, and it's 800 is the length. So if you scroll down, and that's it. That's your radiator. So if you gives you all the information that you've put into that particular radiator. If you look at the bottom, it's a presetting 4. So that's your. So I don't know if you can see here. It's probably the easiest. I don't know if we've got another slide that can show. Do we show the? We don't. So okay. So I will try and show you. So there's a little arrow here. It's probably quite difficult to see on my camera, but in live it's so easy to see. And at the top there's a green collar, and it says N27. So basically all you do is turn the little collar, and then to above the arrow, to 4 above the arrow. You can't see that unfortunately, but that is basically your radiator preset. Bang. So you've seen that. Get some more questions in. If you're interested. Any questions on that demonstration? You know, you know, if there's
Absolutely.
anything you want us to run over again, maybe, you know, we might have rushed through something. We don't want to miss this opportunity to talk to you guys. So it'd be great to keep going with this, you know.
Yeah, just to recap, so everything we just did that on the app. Everything we just did there on the app. So that was just for one radiator. So obviously we
Yes.
went through it quite slowly with yourselves
Yeah.
in terms of showing you what the app does. That took a couple of minutes, would you say, Sean?
Yeah, easy,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
So
the good thing as well, sorry, Asif, to say as well, if you do a whole project, again here in the UK, a lot of the boiler manufacturers, the benchmark book want proof of balancing. So you can make that into a project log, so a PDF that you can keep on for your own records engineers as homeowners. So that can be left with the benchmark book. So if for any reason the radiator ever is taken off the wall or someone plays with the actual valve, which they shouldn't do because it's all preset, you know what the presetting is. So again,
absolutely.
it's a project log. But come on, guys, keep these questions going. It's great to hear from you all.
Yeah. So as I was saying, just to elaborate on that, what this means to everyone is what we just showed you there. So imagine, as I was explaining previously about, you know, opening up lock shields and closing lock shields and balancing it all out. And because obviously we didn't have many people mentioning it, I'm sure a lot of you that do know about this, it used to take me about 2 hours.
Yes.
2 3 hours to balance the system. So imagine this, what we just went through the app there and then was for one radiator, and that because we slowed down just to ensure you know what was going on in the app. Imagine you had to do that about 11 12 times for a typical house. How long would that take in total? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? So from 2 3 hours going all the way down to 10 15 minutes. That's where, the answer to the original
Uh,
question that we had. That's how we could ensure we can make your hydronic
Asif,
balancing life easier.
so we've got another question coming from Amit, which is
Mhm,
fantastic. Thank you, Amit. So in the installer app,
mhm,
sorry, I was had my head down. I was listening, but I just wanted to show you. It was saying about does our app show dimensions of our products? So it does, yes. In the electric, you know, I'm just going to use the
mhm,
ERC side of thing, like it does. So if you go into the app and you go to, let me see, um, so products and then thermostatic, I'm just going to use them again. A new TP5001. So I've just opened that. So
mhm.
a new TP5001. It will give you the product code or product specification. So again, it will all the specification of what's required, degrees, and then it gives you the weight, the height, the net weight. So yes, it does. It gives you exact, and I think it gives wiring diagrams as well. But this is always evolving. So again, if you're out on site and because again, as if you this time of year you get
Mhm.
loads of questions, and these guys, these installers want the answer straight away, don't they? And
So as
brilliant, you got
yeah,
it there. It might be better
so,
on your
so as Sean was showing
yeah.
that when you go onto the app, that's the main screen. You go into products, which is here, and then you've got a list of all the products that we do. So if you could scroll down, you could look at radiator thermostats, you could look at timers. So
So,
if you were
so
to go to
Asif, while
radio
you're in
thermostat,
there as well,
mhm,
biggest thing for me, one of the biggest phone calls I get from installers, because we've changed our range, you know, in
mhm.
the last year or so. It's like, sure, I've got this one. What supersedes it? You know, what's the code? What's the again? That all that information's there, isn't it, on the app? Um,
Absolutely.
you know, what we're trying to do with this app, guys, is to make your life easy. So you're not on the phone. You know, as much as if we want to talk to you and speak to you, it's not physically possible to give you that reaction straight away. So it'd be great to you know, download the app and you can hopefully get the information you need straight away.
Okay,
Um,
Thomas Adams has got a very, very good question. Can
yep.
I download, save, or print, etc. from the app? That's a really good question. So
You,
I'll just show you once again. So I'm on the app. I went into products. I'll go down to timers, for example. I'll go into two channel programmers and I'll pick any one of the programmers. Sorry if I'm going really quickly. I'm just trying to get into one of the products. So if I go into the FP720, pick that. Where it says documents and visuals, they actually come up as PDF files. So there you go. Once you get the PDF file up, well, I'm using an iPad, depending on which phone or tablet you're using, you always get an option to share or save. So save to files, copy, share via email. So and there's a print option there as well. So yes, the answer to your question, Thomas, is yes, you can. You could download, you could save, and you could print any of the PDFs and stuff like that
So
through
what
the
about the
installer app.
easy user guides on that as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, someone's just asked. Steve
that's the
has
easy
asked
user
that.
guide.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
right there is one of the easy user guides I was using as an
yeah,
example. So you
yeah,
could download, save, print, share, anything like that, because it's a PDF file, just like any other PDF file on
yeah,
any phone or tablet.
yeah. So this
That's
is
it.
great for you guys, who are out in the field, especially over Christmas, getting them calls, obviously, but you can push your customers towards that initially, rather than have to go out. So
Mhm.
to check if a
There's another
radiators are
question.
correctly sized for the room. Yeah. So how do you check the radiators are rightly sized for the room fitted? Is
Good
that one for
question.
you, Asif? Yeah.
That I will actually check. I would like to check if the app does that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So hydronic balancing. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question
Yeah.
right
I
now.
don't know if it
It's
does
a
or not, to
very
be
good
honest.
question, though.
Yeah. That's the first time, we, we can all stand there and like it's every
Well,
day's a school day, isn't it? It's a question. My gut feeling
I have a
is,
way of answering that. I have a
yeah,
way of
okay.
answering that actually. So when we went through the app and we went through radiator presetting. So
Yes.
just recapping, you put your flow temperature in, you put your return temperature in, you put your differential KPA in. So if I was to do, for UK standards, if I were to do 75, then 55, KPA of 15. If I was to move next, and I use the RAS B2 with the RAS C2 head. So when I actually pick the type, so type 21, for example, and I put the height in, as in 600, and I put the width in of 1,000, it will actually give me, don't know if you can see that, but at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see, not only will you be able to see the presetting that you're setting your TRV valve to, but it's also going to be showing you what your flow rate is and what the heat emission is. So as long as you know what size um, room you have and what
Yeah.
sort of heat output you need for that room, this will give you an idea if it matches it. So here, a type 21 radiator, which is 2 panels and a single convector, 600 millimeters high and 1 meter wide, gives a heat emission of 1.18 kilowatts or
Yes.
1,179 watts. Hopefully that helps, because that will give you an idea of what if that radiator is the right size for that room.
Good stuff. Thanks, Asif. That's well found. Well got yourself out of a hole. No, I thought it was. I saw the emission thing and I thought as much, but it doesn't. But there's another question. Could we get a presentation slide material through mail? I'd in a PDF format. I'm sure we'll get someone to reach out to you after this. I can't see who's that. Can you see who's that?
Abdul.
Abdul. Yeah. Okay. We'll get someone to reach out to you after this presentation. I'm sure we can get something sent to you. Um, thanks again for that
Absolutely.
question. So,
So, by the way, Sean.
okay, sorry. Yeah, I've got a question here. I say hold that
Okay, there you
question.
go.
Yeah. Um, how does the temperature control differ on flow and return? Um,
Good question.
is that on a
So,
radiator, you means, or just what's?
so I believe what Jorg, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, Jorg Fincher. Good question, thank you. So I believe what you mean by that is when we were talking about the flow temperature being 60, return temperature being 40 and so on, it may be about that. So what we're trying to say is when you're using heating emitters, so when you're talking about a heating application, the
Yeah.
heat output, so the boiler, heat pump, whatever you're using, provides a source of heat. That source of heat will be a certain temperature, such as 70 degrees, 75 degrees, 60 degrees, and so on. What happens is when that temperature of water reaches the radiators, which is your heating emitter, a lot of the heat should be dissipating. A lot of heat should be being released from the radiators. Okay, so when it's being released from the radiators, what we're actually trying to do is we're trying to release approximately 20 degrees Celsius of that heat out into the atmosphere, so our return is 20 degrees Celsius lower.
Asif, can I just come in there? And that's a great question. So, as you said, depends on the application. You know, I'm out in the field, so I talk to different engineers, and they have different desired flow and return temperatures, especially with heat pumps. You know, they some of them work on like some of them want to work less than 10-degree differential, really. You know, but that depends on the application, but you can play around with I think the lowest on the app is no less than 20, I think, that you can go on a differential. But one thing to consider about our Raspberries also as well, that these are in loaded or non-loaded conditions, that they will retain the balance. So if one of the radiators reach temperature, you won't get any overshoots or undershoots. What will happen is the pressure differential valve within the valve will balance the system. It will read the system and it will slow it right down even more. So we're always getting a consistent flow and return temperature against others who are they're presetting valves, but they're not presettings with the flow limiter inside. So ours always will keep a consistent return flow and return questions. So yes, so I think we're kind of coming to the end here, guys. Unless there's any other questions or anything else you'd like to ask us, obviously we'd love to hear from you for more, because I said I'm finishing tonight at 5, so I'm quite happily sit here and chat away, and because I'm on holiday for 2 weeks after this. So please keep the questions in if you haven't got any. We're always here, even if there's always drop us an email or anything, or if there's anything or if you watch this back and you think, oh, I should have asked this or that, and we've got engineers all over the world. Like in the UK, we've got 11 key account managers up and down the country who are willing to help, and Asif and Daniel are on the on technical desk here in the UK. So they'll answer your questions and emails as best they can, but they are very busy at the moment. So that's why the app is good, mate, isn't it?
Absolutely,
So
the app saves a lot of time.
yeah,
A
so
lot of time.
doesn't seem to be any more questions coming in. So hopefully we've done a okay job, and everyone's happy and content. And I suppose now I'd like to say on behalf of myself, Asif, Danfoss, wish you all a lovely holiday, Christmas break, and a lovely and successful 2022. So I suppose it's time to say goodbye, mate.
Yeah, before I say goodbye, I'd just like one last thing. Please, if you haven't already done so, please download the Danfoss
Yes.
Installer app. Play around with everything before you actually go out on the job and actually try it out. And also leave feedback, leave reviews on the app, rate the
Yeah.
app. We'd love to see your ratings on the app. If there's anything that is missing, is there anything that you'd
Yeah.
like to change?
Absolutely.
If you
Yes.
like the app, if you enjoy the app, the bit you use the most about the app, please rate the app,
Yeah. Great.
because that will
Great.
give us a better idea as to whether the app is actually helping you out, because it helps me out.
Yeah, well, it does, because at the end of the day, we play with it really, because see guys out in the field who we're engineering this app for. We want to make your life easier, your business is more profitable, and want you to keep coming back to Danfoss. So unless so all feedback's welcome, and so
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you, good stuff. Well, Asif, it was great seeing you, mate.
Great
Might
seeing you too.
might be another couple of years the way things are going, but
Let's hope
they
not.
might invite us back next year and do another one of these. You never know.
Brilliant. But yeah,
Lovely.
we have plenty of tools. Please use our tools. They're there for yourselves to utilize to make your lives quicker, make your lives easier, such as the Danfoss Installer app. So yeah, please review and rate as much as possible.
Good. Lovely. Okay, so